It's the Wake Up Show, brought to you by Priority Home Medical Equipment. I'd like to welcome into our studios today the mayor of Weatherford, Mike Brown. Good morning.
Good morning, Todd.
Hey, appreciate you coming in. How was your weekend?
Really good, really good. Just had both the kids, their families were on vacation, so we kind of had a weekend off. So Debbie and I went to Oklahoma City for an evening and got to go out and eat and went to a baseball game and a few museums, and
Nice.
so had a nice weekend.
Well, that's cool. We certainly did as well, and we're back at it. Gosh, it's hard to believe kiddo's going to be back to school here in just a couple of weeks.
The time is near, but we're excited about that. Always think about the university kids coming back from a summer break, and so streets are going to be busier here in the next week or two.
They are for sure. And of course, busier out at the Tom Stafford Museum. Man, Shooting Star Park open looks awesome.
It's been a success. I think that they've done a great job. Still working out a few kinks, but continue to add things out there. And hopefully as the weather cools down a little bit, then you'll see a lot more families out there. They're already going, but, when the 100-degree heat, makes it pretty tough. So early mornings and late evenings have been good. And, we know that's just going to continue to grow.
All right. Well, the big topic in Weatherford over the past month or so has been these meetings about a potential TIF district. And I know last time you were in town, we didn't have any idea about what businesses might be interested. And let me preface this by saying at the last TIF meeting, the developer put some proposed business names. Now, it's not a guarantee any or all of them would come, but does that help people when they see, oh, I've heard of that store, maybe they could come there, right?
I think it does. I think that, once they put those names on the table, then it kind of makes you understand what the motive is. And, actually talking about having meetings the last couple of months, this has been something in the process for the last 2 years.
Okay.
So, it hadn't just happened. We've been looking
We're
at
just hearing more.
Yeah, we're hearing more about it. And, there is property that was available to sell. I had a developer that was interested in that. The developer got in contact with Retail Attractions, a company we use to help recruit retail, and they said, hey, we're wanting to bring about 10 businesses to Weatherford, and several of them are big name type companies, and like you said, no guarantees, but I think that what it does for Weatherford is kind of speeds the process up a little bit. We don't have to do anything. I mean, it's not like I've told Yolanda, our economic developer, we do not have to do anything. Life goes on, but it's an opportunity. It's something we need to look at. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll continue to do things the way we're doing right now. But so far, so good. Having good conversation. We'll have another meeting to talk about what the next steps are. The developer has put a dollar amount out there. They said that it's about a $50 million project for them to do the infrastructure to put the thing together. They're asking for $10 million from the city that can come through infrastructure, redoing of roads. It can come from sales tax rebate. It can come from several different areas. So, didn't think the ask was way out of line. Talking about something over the next 5 to 10 years that, would pay itself out. So, I think it's worth looking at.
It's an interesting area because, last time we talked, I said, man, I've got to really drive out there and picture it. First of all, there's going to be a lot of work to get that ready because it's kind of a forested area. You're kind of close to the wastewater treatment plant there as well. You've got the hotel, but I guess it goes a lot deeper than I'm thinking, right? Because this potential area looks pretty big.
Right. There's, I think, 21 acres. It's right there just west of the Home 2 Suites. So, yeah, it's not I'm the same way. In my opinion, it wouldn't be the first place that I would pick. But on the other hand, neither was Home 2 Suites. They bought 2 acres right there on the corner, and I thought, well, I don't know if that's a great deal or not. But as it turns out, it's the busiest hotel in town.
Wow.
They've got 100 rooms, and they've been doing a great business. And so, I think the location is there. When you look at I-40, they're now saying that it's 50,000 people a day are driving down I-40.
Wow.
I remember it used to be 30, then 35.
Yeah.
Now the last numbers we're hearing are 50,000 people. So when you look at the ability to see on I-40, these businesses, hopefully people will pull over, and we'll get a lot of that business in addition to, all the people that shop Weatherford.
Now, looking at that area, of course, they redid the exit off I-40 on Washington. Would there have to be a whole complete secondary road to get it into that? How would that work?
I think they're looking at 2 or 3 different entrances into that facility. It may not be off of Eagle Road or that type of thing. So I think that they are looking at a couple ways to get into it. That's above my pay grade, I guess. But if it all goes through, then we'll address that. Part of it may be that in-kind type work that would make up some of the cost that the developers wanting. So we haven't seen that yet, but I do think that they're looking at a couple of alternative entrances.
So tax increment financing, correct me if I'm wrong, usually the way it works, you set this for a certain period of time, and the either property tax or sales tax, sometimes a combination of both, a portion of that would be put back in to that area instead of just collected by the city or the county, right?
Correct. So they the businesses actually get a benefit, and we're here in Weatherford. We have 3 cents that is not dedicated. We've got the Yes Weatherford things, and so that money is dedicated to those projects. So what we have available is 3 cents. So it may be a situation where we say, okay, we give you back that full 3 cents, or it goes back into a fund to help them with the cost of development or the cost of rent, that type of thing. But normally, we look at what those companies feel like they'll do in business, how much that they'll actually generate, and then look at how long it would take to get that money back. It may be between 5 and 10 years is kind of what we're looking at on this deal. Hopefully they exceed what their expectations would be. If they do, then the time frame goes down to that a few years. Most likely, I think that what we're looking at is not what the maximum they can do now, but it's like, okay, we know it's going to take time, regardless what it is. And even if something says today, hey, if we're coming to Weatherford, it's not going to open up immediately. There's time for it to the development, and so this is something looking to the future, just trying to think about, okay, how can we get there, and how can we do it over time.
Now, you mentioned the developer was looking at potential $10 million from the city. Would that be from the TIF, or is that an additional? Is that to help with like roads and sewer and water?
That'd be from the TIF.
That's from the TIF.
That's their ask. So,
Okay.
They're saying, okay, there's $10 million that either needs to be done in infrastructure or in these tax rebates, or even, as you mentioned, it could be a property type thing, ad valorem. So, it's one of those. They haven't come up with a plan yet, but
Okay.
I'm sure they've got an idea what they're wanting and how they want it. But, it's not money coming out of the taxpayer is not paying additional money for this. It's something that really is an investment.
I wanted to touch on something we had talked last time because it blew me away when you told me this. And I don't know why I had this in my mind, but I was even talking to a couple of people that are running for city council, and they assumed, like I did, when Walmart came in, that we did incentives for them, like we rebated sales tax for them to move. We never did anything.
Yeah, and the only thing we did is that we improved that road. If
Okay.
you remember, that was a farm to market road.
Yeah.
Back there was a racetrack.
Yeah.
Out there where Walmart is located. So we actually did spend about $1 million to redo Eagle Road.
Sure.
That but as far as incentives, we didn't give Walmart a sales tax rebate or didn't do anything like that. We knew that we were going to have to handle the people that were going in there. And since that time, when you look at the intersection there of Main and Washington, the bridge, all that's been improved. Was it for Walmart? Not necessarily, but yet they benefited from having better traffic in and out, that type of thing. Same way, with these businesses. Really, one of the things that draws them to that area is that now we have great, a wide bridge. It used to be a 2-lane, now it's 4-lane, easy on and off access. So, that's been a benefit for us.
Yeah, what about the other property near Walmart? Originally, I mean, if you're in the far end of the parking lot, you drive up to the north. It looks like originally they were intending a road to go to some other future development.
Sure.
Is the cost of that just the developer that has that, or are they just wanting too much money? It's interesting that nothing else has ever happened over there.
Yeah, it's a combination of things. The developer, Sandor Development, I think they got mad with the city years ago when we kind of had the same opportunity looking at Lowe's potentially coming to that area, and we weren't able to make a deal with them. The price is high. We've talked about this, Todd. The going price out there per acre is somewhere between $100,000 and $400,000 an acre. So that's the biggest issue. When I look at I think where the Home 2 Suites, is located, there was 2 acres, and it sold for $400,000. So $200,000 an acre is what they got there. So there's not a lot of mom and pop shops. They're going to spend $200,000 to $400,000 an acre to put into businesses or put into a business. So I think that the cost has been part of it. There hadn't been a lot of incentive. We think that if this 21 acres goes, it probably will draw more, attention to those other areas. And one of the things that was brought up during the meetings, Todd, these co-tenants is really what the draw is. If just one company comes here, they may or may not make it. But if there's several that come to a certain area, they're drawing a different clientele, but yet they get the same, all those same customers. So they said that there's advantage in bringing several different companies to a location. And so I think that's the idea is to get these co-tenants that all make a decision to come here at kind of one time, and then that just kind of builds on itself.
Well, and the other thing is, you mentioned it's the traffic along I-40. I mean, when I go to Walmart once a week, I see so many people from Clinton and Cordell and Thomas. Can you imagine if you have this shopping center with maybe some clothing stores and other things? I mean, those people from those cities are going to come here, just like Weatherford people have to go to Yukon for like Kohl's and things like that, right?
Yeah, when you look at the amount of people leaving Weatherford, to go to those different locations. And I've had a lot of people say, Alta is something there in Yukon. They said, oh, my daughter, my wife, we have to go there once a week.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's I think maybe everything from cosmetics to hair products to, all the that type of thing. But, anyways, one of the names of the companies mentioned.
Yeah.
The same thing. You mentioned Chick-fil-A off air. Everybody says, oh, hey, we want a Chick-fil-A. And we've got a Chick-fil-A food truck that comes here once every 2 weeks, and they do a great business. So, I would anticipate they would do well. When you talk about clothing, they brought up Ross or TJ Maxx. Those are companies, they're not necessarily high end, but they're something that I think would work out here. So, there's a lot of those names that they're mentioning that appear to be something that would be popular, that would maybe not only draw people to our community, but also keep people here instead of driving to, Oklahoma City or Yukon to do their shopping.
And more jobs.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I think that, of course, we're excited about the Amazon, building be completed here in September. And, there's 100 new jobs there. So each one of these retailers that we're looking at for this TIF area, they've got an estimated number of employees. And, all of them are 50 to 100 employees. I mean, when they're talking about around-the-clock workers, it takes a lot of people. So, it could potentially, be not only 100 new workers, but maybe 500 new workers.
Yeah.
And, that brings up the point of, we were talking earlier about housing. And, I think that that's one of the things that we're probably best positioned for is that, we have a lot of new housing under construction, probably more now than we've had in a long time. And we've got about 3 new developments that are potentially coming to, the forefront here over the next few months.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's I just am astounded how many builders still just continuing building homes here, and it's wonderful. It breaks my heart for some of the other communities that don't have that, but the people go to where they think they're going to get the bang for their buck, right? Don't
And I
they?
think the biggest advantage we've had on that is being a university town.
Yeah.
A lot of builders go in like, well, I can sell it to parents of some kid going to school here, or just whatever it might be. So there's a little more turnover. There's people they know, new people moving to town, and so I think that's a little advantage for the builders.
Without a doubt. We're talking with Weatherford Mayor Mike Brown. Quick break. We'll be back with more right after this.
Senate District 26 needs a leader who understands our local economy, not someone learning on the job.
Western Oklahoma needs a leader who has a proven record of listening and accomplishing. For over 40 years, I've run successful businesses thanks to the great people here in District 26. Together, we can continue to do great things. Now I'm ready to serve as your next state senator.
For steady leadership and proven results, vote Rick Cook for State Senate.
Paid for by friends of Rick Cook 2026.
Looking for antiques, quality furniture, and appliances for your home? Bid now in the online estate auction in Clinton, Oklahoma at heardauction.highbid.com. Browse antique furniture, china, glassware, silver teapots, original paintings by local artist Judy Jordan, plus sofas, recliner, dining table and chairs, a 4-poster bed, dressers, kitchen appliances, washer, dryer, freezer, home decor, handbags, patio furniture, and much more. There's something for everyone. Bid online now through August 4th at heardauction.highbid.com. That's heardauction.highbid.com.
It's time to get back to school, and what better way to get ready than It's All About Moi in downtown Weatherford. Whether you're a teacher ready to revamp your style, a student looking to level up your look, or shopping for kiddos who outgrew everything over the summer break, Moi has you covered. Trendy tops, must-have accessories, dress clothes, and denim. You'll find brands like Under Armour, Z Supply, Risen, and more. Stylish, affordable, local. Start your back-to-school shopping at It's All About Moi, where it's all about you.
Turn back the pages of history. See the Route 66 Porterhouse Diner where Elvis ate a hamburger. Play school in a one-room schoolhouse. Take photos of historic classic cars and trucks, all on display at the Heartland of America Museum in Weatherford, with hundreds of exciting exhibits giving you an up-close look at the life in Weatherford and western Oklahoma, all along Route 66.
Get your kick on Route 66.
Visit the Heartland of America Museum today, located on South Frontage Road just off the East Main Weatherford exit between Airport Road.
Guess who loves your dog even more than you do? Fleas and ticks. Right now, their bags are packed and they're ready to hitch a ride on old Rover right into the heart of your home. Don't worry, Rover, you're still a good boy. And thankfully, C4 Spraying has the solution. No more pests, no more stress. Just targeted, effective, eco-friendly treatments for both inside and out. Fleas and ticks, spiders and bed bugs, termites, roaches, and rodents. If it doesn't pay rent, it's got to go. Payment options available. Contact Derek Chisholm or visit c4spraying.com today.
Welcome back to the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. Our guest this morning is Weatherford Mayor Mike Brown. So one of the things we were talking off air, I saw an article in the paper that you're exploring ways to expand your Meals on Wheels and Senior Meals program at the Pioneer Center, which is an amazing thing that you've been able to offer for years.
Yeah, this is one of the most exciting things that I think we've got going on is that, we, for the last 5-10 years, we've wanted to be able to increase the amount of people that we could feed through the nutrition side there at the Pioneer Center. And, currently I think that we're between 60 and 70 people that we're feeding. That's both at home, the Meals on Wheels, as well as those that show up on a regular basis. The problem we've had over the last 5 or 10 years is we're having to turn people away. And, that's sad as far as the people that may be the only real meal that they get. And so when we had a change in the people that are going to be operating the nutrition side, they asked us, what could we do to make it better? And we said, okay, here's the deal. We'd like to feed up to 100 people a day. So I said, figure the cost for us to do that. So they came back with a number, it's about close to $50,000, I think $45,000 to $47,000 increase that the city would have to pay to be able to feed these additional people. We're fortunate that we have 2 or 3 funds that can potentially help pay for that. we're still, of course, asking the public. There was a fund that was set up through the Community Foundation here years ago. Richard and Rose Ratcliffe were a big part of that. They said, hey, Richard said, my mom and dad ate here at the Pioneer Center.
Yeah.
Hey, if they hadn't ate here, he'd have been cooking meals. So very thankful for that. So, they set aside some funds, and so we'll be using part of those. The city has set aside like $15,000 towards that, and then we've got just 2 or 3 areas that we're trying to draw from. But we think the benefit will be is we're not having to turn people back or turn people down that are wanting to come to the Pioneer Center for lunch, or those people that are at home where we deliver the meals. So that's going to happen. We approved it at the last city commission meeting. So hopefully as we move forward, as soon as we kind of get all the details worked out, we'll be feeding up to 30 additional people each day, and so that's great.
That's amazing. I mean, I talk all the time about I don't know what we'd do without Meals on Wheels in Cordell. Since my mom passed away, she was the cook of the family.
Sure.
My dad can microwave, some soup or something like that, but that's how he gets lunch. He gets lunch every day. So my brother and I take turns with dinners and stuff like that. But it's great, and there's so many people that need that in town.
Well, and that's the deal. And for a lot of those people, that is their only meal. So a lot of them will kind of split it up. They'll have it for lunch and have the leftovers for supper. So, and we've got great volunteers that help deliver those meals. I think the churches alternate. I know my wife and her friends deliver meals, and they, it's a good thing. The community jumps in there and helps. And I think that we just didn't want to be able to have to turn people back that needed the meals. And the nutrition side is separate from the Pioneer Center. You can come to the Pioneer Center and be involved in all the activities there. You just have to be on the list as far as to be able to eat there or get the meals at home. So, we were turning down about 6 to 8 people a week. And so, I don't know if there's the same people, 6 or 8, but we know that we'll build it up to be able to get to the 100 folks. And if if we can grow that, we're for it. So we think that's very important for the people in this community.
And before I let you go, City Commission elections coming up August 25th, right?
Yeah, and we've got, I think, 2 forums. We've got one this week on Tuesday night with the state Senate seat, and then the following Tuesday, I think on the 11th, our City Commission, we've got 2 seats that will be open there. We've got 2 incumbents and then 2 challengers, so that will be a forum on the 11th. So looking forward to that, and then, like as you mentioned, the election on the 25th, so just encourage people to get out and vote and support those that they feel like will do the best job.
Yep. Once again, we will be live streaming both the forum tomorrow night and next Tuesday on Right.Media, so you can check that out if you can't make it in person. Mayor Brown, as always, appreciate you coming in and being a part of the show.
Appreciate you, Todd. Thank you very much.
All right, stick around. We got news coming up next.
News from the Radio Oklahoma News Network. I'm Ann Roberts. A Republican candidate for state superintendent removes campaign promotional content after using school resources. Radio Oklahoma's Ken Johnson has more about the questionable activity.
James Taylor teaches history at Little Axe Public Schools, and a classroom was used in creating social media posts. The Little Axe school superintendent asked Taylor to remove the posts from social media and adds the district does not endorse any candidate for the office. Taylor's campaign did remove the video advertisements, and he says it was not his intent to misuse district resources. Taylor believes the issue is resolved.
A head-on collision in Carter County over the weekend between Mainville and Dixon leaves 1 person dead and 5 others injured. No word on what caused the crash or the identities of the victims. From the Radio Oklahoma News Network, I'm Ann Roberts.
In 1958, the Hillary family purchased a small telephone company in their hometown of Medicine Park. Now in their 3rd generation, Hillary delivers state-of-the-art services across rural Oklahoma. From Main Street business owners and our future generation of leaders to farmers at the heart of our rural economies, Hillary is always innovating, consistently connecting, and relentlessly going where others won't. Because every community, every person matters.
Full count, bases loaded, and the pitch. Your kid hit that last home run?
Sure did.
A real powerhouse, huh?
Just like my John Deere 6 Series tractor.
Your what?
Handles whatever I need. Feeding, planting, heavy lifting.
We still talking baseball?
Sorry, I get carried away.
John Deere 6 Series tractors. A team player built to handle whatever your operation needs. See your local John Deere dealer.
The food was awful.
The staff was rude.
I left 3 messages, and they never called back.
It takes one bad review like this to completely derail your business. Don't let these people write your story for you. Be in control of what is being said about you and write your own story. Think of it like buying insurance for your business. Protection against bad word of mouth. Radio advertising is the avenue you need to create a consistent, positive message. Let's brand your business together. Give me, Courtney Grable, a call at Wright Broadcasting, and let's work together to write your future.
734, 71 degrees. It's the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show, brought to you by Priority Home Medical Equipment. John Matthews joining us now. Good morning.
Hey, Mr. Berner, how are you this morning?
Well, I am doing better than I deserve because, I turned 61 over the weekend, but I don't believe I was ever truly a full-grown man until Friday night. And my wife and son put clues around the house for me to follow.
Oh, it's a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, scavenger hunt to find my birthday present. It led me to the back patio where finally I got a Blackstone griddle.
Let's go!
I am really a man. Every man who's a manly man has one. I've been jealous for years. I finally have one.
You make all those clanking noises with the tools and utensils, and
yeah.
You feel like you're what are those restaurants where they cook in front of you?
Yeah, fry cooks and just
yeah.
Or like the shiitake grill or whatever.
You gotta be able to take the eggs and throw them in your hat.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. Of course, we went down to Cordell to have the party with family and stuff, so they wanted to do that Friday night. And they put it all together and everything.
I was going to ask. Was it no assembly? It was in a box or was already?
It was in a box. They put it all together. Had to get a little bit of help from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because, the instructions suck on those things, But they even got like the kit to go along with all the, extra scrapers and spatulas. Got me the seasoning. So last night, I haven't cooked on it yet.
What?
Because I had to spend I was in Cordell. So we got back about 6:30 last night. I've got to at least season it because it takes like 2 hours.
Right.
So you have this goop that you put on it and you spread it all around while it's hot. And, of course, the first time I plugged in the propane tank, it wasn't working. I turned on the propane too fast, and it has like an emergency shutoff, I guess I had to Google that.
Huh.
And but got it all rolling. And so tonight we are finally going to cook. But I am so freaking excited.
What's on the menu?
Well, I watched about 20 YouTube videos.
Okay.
And they said your very first cook should not be bacon or like animal fat for the most part. Yeah, after you season it, they said to do like onions and peppers and potatoes first to get some more flavor in there.
And there's vegan?
No, I'm going to do meat too, but the first layer you're going to do with like onions and pepper. It has something to do, I can't remember if it's nitrates are in that or if there's nitrates in the meat, but they just said it's better to do something else your very first time. And so there's this lady called like Blackstone Betty.
No.
And she was cooking up, all kinds of stuff, made some onion dip out of this. And anyway, I'm just going to follow their recommendations.
Okay. So it sounds like fajitas tonight at your house.
I think it's kind of a fajita thing is what we're going to do. So you're invited. Come over about 9.
Not. Yeah.